A DMZ game mode could change Call of Duty forever, in some really positive ways and some possible negative ways too. There are some fascinating topics I want to touch on in this video since the leak started around this specific mode. Still, before we jump in, I just want to remind you to hit the like button if you want to enjoy this video, and hit subscribe if you fancy sticking around too. It's no secret that my channel is absolutely microscopic in the grand scheme of things, but together we can change that, and I appreciate every single one of you. Anyway, on with the video. So yes, leaks have been springing left, right and centre once more with Modern Warfare 2, and DMZ has been brought up in a few of them. And then in the same sentence I hear people asking, well, what is DMZ? What does it mean? What's it going to play like? So first of all, let me quickly answer that question for those who are not in the know. DMZ, in a military sense, means demilitarized zone, which then translates to an area in which treaties or agreements between nations, military powers or contending groups forbid military installations, activities, or personnel, which in itself is a little misleading when comparing it to the game mode it's actually going to be based on. But it'll all make sense soon enough, I promise. What is the game mode going to play like then, and what are the objectives? Well, a common misconception is that it's a battle royale, and I totally understand why that is the case. The ultimate end goal is the same: to get out alive. However, the way in which you achieve this is usually down to the player and rarely consists of just outliving everyone else in the lobby. The two most popular examples I can give are, of course, Escape from Tarkov and Hunt Showdown. Two games that have really pushed this style as their main focus. You create a character with little to no gear, you drop into a map with set extraction points and an objective in mind, whether that's to loot better items and gear or to defeat an enemy. Ultimately, the choice is yours. You can play however you want. If you don't extract in time or you get taken out during the match, well, that's it. Everything you did in the game is lost, and most of the time, so is your character and the loot you took in with you. Here is a phrase you have heard a million times before: high risk, high reward. But that is a perfect way to sort this type of mode. Risk your best gear for a greater chance of survival. Take on one last engagement for a little bit of loot. Every time you play, you risk everything, but you only get out what you put in. Slowly but surely, you'll build either a base, a set of characters, or an overall level that is permanent to your account, and that is the main loot. It's not for everyone, but neither was Battle Royale at the beginning. So how will this fit into the Call of Duty formula? Well, this is the magic question that everyone is waiting to find the answer to, really. We've been receiving really mixed signals on late on whether or not this mode is going to be standalone or free to play like Warzone. The latest report states that in fact it's going to be included in Modern Warfare 2 and not free to play at all, which raises further questions. Is this even a priority for them then? Will this just be a small tacked on game mode to replace Spec Ops? Again, this is not confirmed, but many sources have claimed it's going to be the case. Free to play, in my opinion, would be the better thing to do here, and maybe they might change their mind after a year exclusivity if the game mode is actually successful. This type of game mode relies on its economy and active player base, and free to play ultimately means more players. However, counterpoint to this is that putting it behind a paywall also means fewer cheaters, and in a game mode like DMZ, well, that's just as important really. What I am most curious about, however, is the actual gameplay loop. We have never really seen an inventory system in Call of Duty before, so it'll be interesting to see if they go down that route. I don't think there will actually be an inventory system in the gameplay itself, but if I had to give my guess, it'll be taking inspiration more from the likes of Hunt rather than Tarkov. So in Hunt, it has a fairly simple loot, progression and inventory system compared to the likes of Tarkov. You can only take one or two weapons of various calibers and sizes. You have a set amount of slots for equipment, and when you extract, you only mainly get money, experience to spend on better weapons and gear to make the next match easier. Whereas I don't see Call of Duty creating a grid-like inventory system where you can take 4 weapons, 5 different types of healing items, and you have to be an ace at Tetris just to fit everything in. I mean, I could be wrong, but it doesn't really feel like the accessible game mode they're probably going for here. A great starting point is to give the player a basic weapon and a small amount of money, say an M4 or a sidearm of some kind. You can just jump in, complete a contract, take out an enemy, and then leave. You gain some money, you level up maybe, and now you can purchase a sight for that M4. And by leveling up, you can now purchase a perk as well. Slowly but surely, you start to be able to build better and better loadouts with more matches complete and more risks you've taken. My only concern is what kills some DMZ game modes is the armor situation. This is just me, right? So, I know it's highly down to opinion, but if you spawn with more armor than someone else, this game mode will be rough. The reason being, and stay with me here, in Hunt Showdown, 99% of the time you have to land 1 to 3 shots for a kill. Now imagine they add an armor plate into the game that just makes it 1 extra shot to kill. You don't know this player has it, you engage in the fight, you hit them once, and from that moment onwards you begin to trade shots. You will lose that fight. That is not skill, that is just them having more HP than you. and that's just not balanced. Now, to give you a bit of an example, this is what the Cycle Frontier did wrong for me and made it unenjoyable at the end. I mean, the early game was great, but later on, if you didn't have the strongest armor, you basically lost every gunfight no matter what. So it's just something to be wary of. If everyone spawns with 3 plates, or however many it's going to be, with no option to increase this, then that's fine. But dropping in for the first time and coming across someone who has 3 straight away, well, unless you get extremely lucky, you might as well just give up and leave the game. Of course, I'd be happy if the gameplay loop was a bit more complex and deep, but as a starting point, I think this is what we should expect. One of the major things they need to avoid is DMZ becoming another hazard zone in Battlefield 2042, and there's just no point in that mode whatsoever. No hook, no motivation to play, and there's just no real reward you can point to and say, yes, this is what we're trying to survive for. Now, I do want to focus on the positives that this could bring for just a moment longer. Let's live in a world where this mode is super successful and people are really having fun with it. How could this impact Call of Duty in the gaming world as a whole? Well, first of all, it could give Call of Duty a 2-pronged attack with every single title. They already have a huge live service mode with Warzone. I know it has dipped in quality recently, sure. You cannot deny how much it has impacted and helped popularize Battle Royales even further. And this could happen with DMZ as well. I believe that this type of game mode could be even more popular than Battle Royale in some circumstances. We already know how big Tarkov is, and it's still in a relatively niche sector of gaming due to it being PC exclusive, and let's face it, it's not the most accessible games, it's quite punishing. This is similar to how PUBG felt early on with the rise of Battle Royales. It was popular, but a little niche and quite unforgiving. Then came along Fortnite, Apex, Warzone, they all gave it their own little spin and became way more accessible. The genre of BRs blew up to what we know it today. I believe that if COD strikes gold again with this mode, we'll see a similar ripple effect across the genre of gaming too. This is why I'm pretty excited to see what COD does with it. But with this comes the other side of the coin. Well, first of all, if this game mode is super successful, it could actually distract some resources and efforts that they're currently putting into Warzone. The devs may be distracted by the new shiny thing and slowly start moving their attention elsewhere. In the same breath, whether this does happen or not, you can bet a large portion of players that are currently in Warzone may actually turn to DMZ long term instead. Now, I know there's plenty of players to go around, so it's not really going to impact matchmaking or anything like that long term, but I don't think Call of Duty wants 2 modes to share the same player base. They will always have the motivation to push you to one or the other. Now, this is just clown theory, of course, but it is something to consider. And on top of this, say they now have 2 large game modes to look after and provide ongoing content to, then I'm really not sure how the classic 6v6 multiplayer survives this. I personally love the classic COD multiplayer, but I can already see its numbers dwindling from the impact of just Warzone. Now, as DMZ, the massive overhaul to ground war that's been mentioned, well, it doesn't look good for TDM and domination now. The Call of Duty fanbase is massive, but it doesn't mean it can't be spread too thin, and doesn't mean the devs can't be spread too thin either. They will have to work on Warzone content, DMZ, multiplayer every year, ongoing battle passes and events, maps, balances across multiple modes. If any franchise can pull it off, it's going to be the behemoth that is Call of Duty, but even so, it's super ambitious. So, in the end, my opinion on this, I love the idea of Call of Duty's DMZ mode. I have high hopes for it, but they are grounded in reality here. I have to keep reminding myself of Hazard Zone and how it literally was just marketing, and ultimately, COD could be doing the same here. A low effort, barely functioning mode, just to say they have it. But hopefully not. Hopefully it is worryingly large, and it rivals Warzone and gives the masses an opportunity to play something pretty unique. I can't wait to see what it's like, and I truly believe it could be something big if done correctly. But I do want to hear from you guys. I want to know your thoughts on the mode. Are you excited, or do you not even like this style of gameplay? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm really interested to hear. But if you do like this video, smash the like button. If you want to stick around, feel free to hit subscribe as well. I'd really appreciate that. But until next time, guys, cheers.